Okay, welcome to part three of the Red Hood reorder. Before we get into the main event here, there is one book I forgot to mention here. I know you're probably wondering right now, Green Arrow, what's this doing here? Well, if you remember before, I mentioned how good of a run Judd Winick had with Green Arrow, which is right here. Judd Winick, who of course is also the man as I talked about before, brought back Jason Todd and wrote Under the Red Hood. He decided to use Jason in this book as well. So this is another Red Hood book if you want to check out. Basically, what he's doing here is he ends up having a team up with one of the Green Arrow villains known as Brick. So basically, it's a Batman Green Arrow team up. But mainly, what Jason's doing here is Jason ends up kidnapping Green Arrow's sidekick Speedy, who is trying to show Speedy Mia the ways of his ways, which is basically the better way of being a vigilante, aka killing. So yeah, that's another one if you want to check that out. If you can find it, of course. I think this book's long out of print, sadly, but this is another fun Jason Todd story to have in here as well. And like I said, I totally recommend Judd Winick's Green Arrow. It is a great run. Just read this whole run. It's so good. But now, on to the main event. We have all of this to cover. So this is going to be the whole rest of the video here. I might have to do this in other parts. We'll see how we go. But we're going to start here. So, of course, as you all know, DC in 2011 had a major reboot called The New 52. And as I explained before, I might have explained it before in my Flash reorder, but New 52 is special to me because this is how I started getting into comics. This is where I started really collecting and reading comics. New 52, I really have always dug and liked this era, and also helped me go back to some of the older stuff and appreciate that era as well as far as stuff beyond New 52. So while New 52 may be controversial for some people, it will always have a special place in my heart. But anyway, yes, let's cover this era. So we have a new writer. His name is Scott Lobdell. We're just gonna leave it at that. But he is a very good writer, and this is the guy who has basically written that entire stack of books I just showed you. He wrote all this, with the exception. I mean, there is a little bit of an exception with James Tynion, but basically he wrote this entire run, and this is one of my all-time favorite comic runs. This is called Red Hood and the Outlaws. And basically what this book is about is this is Jason more or less tried to better himself, not going so much on the whole killing route anymore, only really killing now if he has to, as opposed to just always having it be the first option. But also what's cool is that he ends up having new recruits to his team. There's actually a few versions of the team of the Outlaws, but this is the first incarnation, which includes Red Hood, Arsenal, aka Roy Harper, who is of course Green Arrow's original sidekick, as well as Starfire, who was a member of the Teen Titans, or at least not at this time. Starfire is a whole other thing of this, but yeah. So let's basically just get to it. So this is, of course, this is actually a omnibus, the new Red Hood New 52 Omnibus Volume 1. There's never been a Volume 2 or anything since then. This came out, I want to say maybe 3 or 4 years ago now. But, yeah, there hasn't been a Volume 2 since then. So, it doesn't look like we will be getting one, so this is the best we got right now. But anyway, I'm just going to go for this quick. I really prefer to not stretch the spine too much. But anyway, one of the other things that's great about this book is the beautiful, beautiful artwork by Kenneth Rockcroft. I get the feeling I mispronounced that name, but yeah, Kenneth Rockcroft. Rockcroft, I believe is how you pronounce it. But yes, this is just some beautiful, beautiful art. Promise I'm not just purposely showing Starfire. I just happens to be the pages I land on. But yeah, there's a lot of great art in this book. But anyway, the book itself is pretty good. A lot of this whole era is a good start. It's not my favorite of the Red Hood Outlaws era. We'll get to that later. But there's still a lot of good stuff in here. A lot of good fun stories, particularly one story that I've always really liked. Let me see if I can find it. I don't know if I passed it already. Okay, I might have passed it already. But anyway, yeah, so there's actually one story here which is kind of cool where basically Starfire gets re-recruited back to go back to her planet, and her, Jason, and Roy end up going on like her ship to be with her people to try to stop this intergalactic war. So it almost becomes like a sci-fi Star Trek kind of book, which is really cool. It's cool to have Jason kind of outside of his own element. So yeah, this basically covers like the first 4 volumes of the New 52 book. So again, give us a shot if you want to check this out, but just to show what it collects. So this collects Red Hood the Outlaws 0 through 27, Teen Titans 16, and Batman 17, and Red Hood the Outlaws Annual number 1. The reason why Teen Titans and Batman's in here is because this is part of the major crossover that happened. Batman Death of the Family, not Death in the Family, Batman Death of the Family, where all the Bat Family member books got sprung into that event, which makes sense because that's what it's about. It's basically about Joker trying to get rid of the entire Bat Family, have it be him and Batman again. And of course, so Jason gets involved in that because obviously Jason and Joker have like a big history together. So anyway, so this is basically the first part. This is the next part here. This is volume 5. Now, I believe, if I recall, again, let me see the contents here. So 27 through 31. Yeah, so there are a few issues from the Ami that are in this, but then this continues the rest of it. So this deals with the story by James Tynion, where they go back and have to take out this. It's been a while since I read some of this, so I'm trying to remember. They have to take down this ancient cult that Jason used to be part of, called the Allcast. And of course, Ra's al Ghul gets involved as well. It deals with a lot of like mythical storytelling. It's a pretty good, interesting stuff. And then we have volume 6. This collects Red Hood and the Outlaws 32 for 34, as well as the annual number 2. One thing that's funny here, that like when I got this, I actually ordered this from Amazon, and if you could tell here, there was kind of a misprint. I guess they accidentally kind of screwed up the cover, so you see all this white here. So I guess this is a pretty rare and pretty valuable trade right now because of the weird misprint. So there's that, and then there's volume 7, Last Call, which collects Red Hood and the Outlaws 35 for 40, Red Hood and the Outlaws Future's End number 1. This is also the last of the Red Hood and the Outlaws, or at least this first incarnation, because at one point Starfire has to leave because Starfire ends up having to go back and protect her planet and having to rule and be with her people. So unfortunately she has to leave the Outlaws, which of course Roy's upset about because her and Roy were like dating around this time. So, but that also jumps into so the book ends up having to change for a bit and jumps into probably one of my favorite eras of Red Hood, which is called Red Hood Arsenal. So at this point now, it's no more Outlaws. It's just Jason and it's just Roy. And this is one of my favorite books. This is such a fun book because it's like there's some fun stuff in it. It's got like a lot of comedy in it. It's basically like an Odd Couple kind of thing where Roy's like the comedy relief and like Jason's like the straight man. And basically the point of this book, what they're doing is they're kind of basically being heroes for hire. that's literally what they're doing. They're becoming heroes for hire now. So that's like their whole new scheme, their whole new plan of what they're doing. Jason's not really a big fan of that, but Roy is, because of course being a superhero doesn't really pay the bills, so they gotta figure out something, you know. So this ends up collecting Red Hood Arsenal 1 for 6, as well as the sneak peek, DC sneak peek of Red Hood Arsenal #1. Because this is also around the time when DC was doing another reboot, quote unquote, called DCU. Personally, in me, I always just saw DCU as I always just saw that as part of like New 52. To me, it always goes New 52 and then Rebirth. I just consider DCU just part of New 52. I don't consider it like its own era. So yeah, so that's volume 1 of that. And then we have volume 2, Dancing with the Devil's Daughter, which of course, as you see this character right here, this is Joker's daughter, who is quite the interesting character. Let's just put it at that. But yeah, I mean, Scott Lobdell did really like this character and wanted to do stuff with her. And this is one of the things that I liked about the book, is that Jason, as opposed to what he was doing with Mia in that one other book where he was trying to show her the bad ways or trying to show her like Achilles bad and all that, Jason's trying to show this chick who's kind of gone psychotic that try to make her better and steer her more towards the right path and not have herself get killed. So he's at least trying to be a little more protective, becoming more hero-like as the story goes on. So yeah, so that's basically, so I'm going to stop here. So that's basically, this is all the New 52 stuff. And then next part, we're going to go into Rebirth, which is probably, in my opinion and most people's opinion, the best Red Hood stuff. This is where the really good stuff happens. So I'll see you guys then.